All I wanted was to see a movie. One down, please.
I can't sell downstairs tickets to you people.
How dare they? I could afford to buy the more expensive ticket. I run my own business. But they refused to take my money. They left me there all night. On what charge? They said I didn't pay the theater tax. But it was really about color.
Sister Desmond, appeal this conviction and your community will stand behind you.
Do you have any idea what this will do to us?
So what are you going to do? Make it right.
Viola Desmond's case inspired Nova Scotia's civil rights movement. She was pardoned 63 years later based on the injustice of her conviction.
When every heart joins every heart, and together yearns for liberty, that's when we'll be free. When every hand joins every hand, and together molds our destiny, ooh, that's when we will be free. Any hour, any day, the time soon will come when men will live in dignity. That's when we'll be free. Oh, when every man joins in our song, and together singing in harmony, that's when we'll be free. Any hour, any day, the time soon will come when men will live in dignity. That's when we'll be free. Oh, when every man joins in our song, and together singing in
Pa should have been here by now. He's 3 hours late already. Pa ain't gonna make it! One of them slave catchers got him. Something must have happened. I just know
Liza,
it.
you both made it past the border yesterday. We've all done this before.
He's our Pa. He'll be here.
Come, let's pray.
No more prayers.
Liza!
Prayers.
Liza!
Between 1840 and 1860, more than 30,000 American slaves came secretly to Canada and freedom. They called it the Underground Railroad.
Lisa! Pa! Pa! We're free!
Yes, Pa, we's in Canada.
Since the early beginnings of Canadian history, people of African descent have made significant contributions to the development of our great country.
Sepoys. The musket balls.
William Hall became the first Canadian sailor, the first Nova Scotian, and the first Black to receive the Victoria Cross. Celebrate our proud heritage. Celebrate Black History Month.
Whenever you set foot on this ground, you're home, right? And it's important because when we lived here as a community, we were an isolated community here. But when we left the confines of Africville, when we ventured up over the hill, you know, we were faced with a racist society. Did not make you feel welcomed or at home. But once you crossed over into Africville, like that feeling just left you, and you felt very, very safe. So every time we return here, that you know, you get those feelings from those memories.
Tell me about those memories. Brenda, we'll start with you. What was it like living here?
It was, well, as a child, all of Africville was a playground to children. You know, we could go swimming in the Beaver Basin. We had an area we called the Southwestern, and that was baseball, and then they played the horseshoes in the summertime, and sports in the summertime, you know, where the children gathered. In the wintertime, it was our ice rink. You know, the boys play hockey, the girls, you know, we go skating and stuff. And then even the hills in Africville, those was our coasting hills.
The greatest loss, you know, I mean, like with the destruction of Africville, the real loss wasn't bricks and mortar. The real loss was community. The real loss was not being able to come out your door and see your cousins and see your neighbors. My grandmother, one of the last ones to leave Africville, and she was living just above Mulgrave Park in her own home. And as she was aging, and she developed dementia. And her dementia, in her mind, she was back in Africville, and it was a job, a chore, we had to keep her in, because she would get out the house, and she would walk around and thinking that she was in Africville. One of the worst memories wasn't going to visit grandmother, it was when you had to leave, because she would cry, right? Take me home to Africville, I want to go home. So when the apology was received in 2010, was the day that I stopped hearing my grandmother crying in my ear.
The apology was to the elders of Africville that were dead and gone. That's who really it meant. That's where it meant a lot to them. It means a lot to us that it happened, that they finally recognized what had happened, and they did apologize. As I remember, it was a very tearful day. And I remember when we got the apology, it was all signed. And after all the ceremony was done, some of us took the apology, went to the graveyard.
Mm-hmm.
And just showed our people.
Yeah.
Here it is.
Mm-hmm. Despite all of the pain.
This was for you.
Yeah, despite all of the pain. When you think about it, when people were asked, well, what do you want? There was no hate. There was no hate. It was, we want them to apologize for what they did to us and give us our church. It was that simple. The current climate in Halifax,
when it comes to
race relations,
yeah.
It's a volcano under the surface that hasn't erupted yet.
Yeah.
It's because there's been no change. There's been no substantive change. There's been window dressing. There's been this let's make it look like. But real change has not occurred.
Things are done, but they're done like like undercover, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, like it's there. Only a black person could see it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's somebody else, you know, a person of another race.
Mm-hmm.
It may not be visible to them, but we know it.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
the hair on the back of your neck stands up.
Yeah, you just know. You just know.
You just know it. Canada as a country, white people will find themselves in the minority. They will find themselves as a part of that great mosaic of people that live and celebrate Canada. Toronto, you can feel it a lot more. Vancouver, you can feel it. Montreal, you can feel it. Halifax will feel it because we need people to grow. And we're not born in children. There's more people dying than being born here in this province. So where are we going to get our people from? They got to come into the country, right?
But I always said that our generations, that our children that are coming up now, if there is a Canada, I can see a black prime minister.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I can see this, and I mean, right within my our families, we see these young people coming up that are really, they're just grasping on to public relations and different getting involved in things, and you can see these children coming up in the political world.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not surprising that you're going to see a move in that direction, not only because of black people, of color.
I just pray that as we're moving along here as a country with our neighbor to the south, that Canada needs to stand up for Canada.